Welcome to HATV. I'm Scott Laird. Today we're speaking with Dave Hubbard. Dave is an author. He is also called America's Fitness Coach, and he's developed this neat little gadget called the Fit 10 exercise equipment. Welcome, Dave. Thanks for being here with us today. How did you get the name America's Fitness Coach?
That title came about when about 3 years ago, I had taken kind of a sabbatical off of the fitness lectures that I'd given for years and years. And then when I came back to check on the landscape of what was happening out there with the messaging with fitness. And I couldn't believe that what I had, kind of the secrets that I had discovered 25 years ago, put into action, worked great, that I then would tell others about, and they would have to trust me implicitly because there was no scientific backing to it, was now backed by science. And I was really excited about that. So I decided to kind of get back on the speaking lecture tour with, again, what I've learned and what I bring to the exercise world. And it was available, so I took it. I tell people that. But beyond that, you know, I think that people connect with me as America's Fitness Coach in this sense. And I'll tell audiences this, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm you. You know, I'm just the everyday person who had the unique situation of at one time as a professional athlete being really, really fit, to then come out of that totally fitness-related world into the everyday world of everyone's lives, of wife and spouse and family and kids and busy, and had to try to put it together again into my lifestyle and really struggled. So I've figured it out. And I've been consistently doing that now for 25 years. So that's what makes me America's Fitness Coach.
Now, speaking of average people, Americans, a majority of us are overweight now, yet there's still all these diet fads out there, you know, lose 10 pounds. What has happened to America in the last 10 to 15 years? What is making us so unfit?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. There's a lot to be said about that. 70% of fitness is nutrition. Okay, some would say it's a little bit higher. I'll settle on the 70%, meaning what you put in here. Okay, and so that's a big part of the problem. So additional calories and sugar, that's a different discussion that I don't really get into with what I talk about with exercise. So I deal with the 30%. So with the 30%, which is extremely important, I think the two primary issues there are, one, we're much too sedentary. I mean, here's an amazing statistic. 230 years ago, the birth of America, 95% of the energy output of this country was from the human body. Today, it's less than 1%. So again, it's very subtle. We don't recognize, it's very subliminal, it's insidious. You know, it's just, we've moved off of the physical stress that we years ago put in our body on a daily basis to being extremely sedentary. The other big issue, and what I emphasize, is strength. And when I say strength, what I'm talking about is muscle mass. Okay, if you took the statistics that you quoted or cited with obesity, it's actually worse than that, because the thing that we're not measuring with most of those is percentage of body fat. And that's way off the chart. Okay, so, and there's a difference, and that's something else I point out. There's a difference between fitness and thinness. See, the other part of the problem is we've got what we call skinny fat people who, you know, they're thin, and you might say they look fit, but they're not fit at all. They're very high percentage of body fat because they don't have any muscle mass. They've lost their strength. So it's really getting your strength back, maintaining your strength, and then eating properly.
Many women, when you mention the word fitness, think of weightlifting, bodybuilding, bulking up. But what actually happens when women lift weights?
She's not going to get ripped. She's not going to get the defined kind of muscle, or certainly not going to get the bulk that she's maybe thinking she's going to get from that kind of lifting. It's just not going to happen because of how men and women are built completely different hormonally. So that's not going to happen. Those that you see who look that way, that they quote unquote don't want to look like, are either taking something, okay, as a performance enhancing type drug that's allowing them to chemically get more muscle mass with what they're doing, or they're into extreme fitness. You know, they're doing hours and hours and hours of extreme fitness that no one's going to emulate anyway.
Now everyone knows that with weight loss you feel better, you look better, but what are some of the other benefits that maybe we don't see that are associated with weight loss?
Well, muscle produces more oxygen in the mitochondria, which affects every aspect of your body than anything. So muscle is extremely important. Osteoporosis is a huge issue. And Tufts University found that in for a woman, just 1 year of doing high-intensity strength training would be more effective than anything else she could do in her life to prevent osteoporosis. So, and it also allows you, when you get your strength back, you are more inclined to do the kinds of things, activity-wise, that you otherwise might avoid. You know, you're traveling with a kid's vacation, and it's less. And I see that all the time. We'll go. My wife and I were down, on a vacation some years ago, and they had a kind of a zip line through the jungle. You know, a neat thing to do. I saw so many people who just wanted to do it, but didn't do it because they didn't have the confidence. They weren't active enough to feel like they could pull that off.
What is the real reason? Why do we get fat?
We get fat in large part because we lose our muscle mass. It's just that simple. Strength, muscle burns fat. Now, one of the things that I really get into too is that people today most people are doing the wrong type of exercise and for what they want to accomplish. And it's taking way too much time with what they're doing than what really needs to be done to achieve their goals. And over time, they get frustrated and they give up. Okay, everybody sees it's like you said with diets earlier. You know, the lose 7 pounds in a week or whatever. Everybody wants the flash. You know, give it to me quick. It doesn't work that way. It took you, probably years to get out of shape. You're not going to get in shape, in a week or 90 days or anything like that. It's going to take time.
So it's not all about weight. It's not about that number on the scale.
Yeah, no, I get really, this just drives me nuts. What really drives me nuts is that now, all these years later, we're still focusing on the BMI, the body mass index. It just drives me crazy. Because the body mass index is really just a glorified height and weight chart. It doesn't tell you much of anything. It tells you how much you weigh based on how tall you are, based on somebody's idea of what that's supposed to mean as far as fitness is concerned. What you really need to know to understand if someone's fit is their percentage of muscle mass, of lean muscle mass, to the percentage of fat in their body. The reason I don't like BMI, another reason, is that I don't fit it. If you put my statistics in, 6'7", 230, into that BMI, I come out obese or very obese, because it's not factoring the one thing it needs to factor, and that's muscle mass. Same thing with athletes. If you took most athletes today and you took their BMI, they would come out obese. People say, "Oh, how's that possible?" Well, because they've got a lot of lean muscle mass. Okay.
How does someone go about testing their body fat?
Well, the scales of today are pretty good. If you're going to go with a body fat scale, go with one of the more expensive ones, so that you get a more accurate reading. There's underwater testing, which is the best, and a lot of times some of the gyms and clubs will have that available. But also the skinfold calibers, which I used for years, is one of the most accurate methods. As long as you have someone who knows where to measure and how to measure accurately, is another way to do that. But there's actually some great tools that have come out to measure body fat that are pretty accurate. And again, the key there, let's say you get on the body fat scale and you get a reading of 23, and that 23 is not accurate, it's really 20. It will at least be consistent, for you over time, so that you'll see whether you're dropping or gaining.
We hear a lot today about metabolism, and you say that there are 5 things that can affect metabolism that in turn affect muscle growth and weight loss. What are those? Yeah,
well, there's genetics, there's your age. As you get older, your metabolism slows down. And I say genetics, and it's true. There's some people that can, I use a candy bar as an example. Some people can eat candy bar, wrapper, and cardboard, and not gain weight. It's disgusting, really. And then there's other people who can just walk by and look at the candy bar and gain weight. And I'm somewhere in the middle there. And I say that because there's 5 of us kids in the family. I've got at least two of my siblings who are very, very overweight. So it's not just that we have that, lean muscle mass DNA, and it's easy for us to stay fit. From there, it's muscle, and it's food, and it's sleep. Okay. Now, of the 5 I just mentioned, there's only 3 that you can control. You can't do anything about the DNA. You can't do anything about the age. So you've got the muscle mass, getting good sleep, and eating right. Okay. And the most significant of those 3, clearly, trumps really either of the other 2, as far as metabolism is concerned, is strength, is getting your muscle mass.
You talk a lot about strength and people getting exercise. How does someone go about discovering what exercise is best? How do they determine what's ideal for them?
This is where I really spend most of my time, and it's kind of my forte with what I deliver as far as my lectures and presentations are concerned, because this is where most people are missing the mark. We've brain locked on aerobics as being the solution because of the whole cardio and cardio fitness, and you've got to spend that time, of 20 minutes to 30 minutes to 40 minutes, depending on how many times you're going to do that a week. Long story short, it's been proven to not be nearly as effective as people think it is, as far as what they're trying to accomplish. Okay, the bottom line is that, let's take the cardio piece of it. When long distance runners, marathon runners, their heart actually shrinks. Okay, because they're kind of forcing the body to adapt, which it can, to running 26 miles. It's a long, long, long way. The body's not necessarily inclined to do that. When you train the body to do that, as far as the oxygen that's necessary and all the rest, the heart actually shrinks. It becomes more. It doesn't become stronger. It becomes actually more efficient as far as long distance is concerned, if that makes sense. The athletes that have the strongest hearts are the sprinters, because your heart is a pump, but it's also a muscle. Okay, so if I'm going to build strong biceps and I grab a 10-pound weight, that's kind of like doing the marathon. I can just, for hours I can do that. That's going to build some endurance in my muscle. It's not going to build strong biceps. I need to grab a heavy weight, do a few reps, and then a day or so later grab another heavy weight and do some more, and I'll build up a lot of strength. So it's short, intense bursts of activity with intensity, and intensity is a really key word, to where you're really stressing the muscle and stressing the body, where you really get the most bang for the buck in terms of what you want to accomplish with fitness. And that's where people kind of have it inside out. They're hopping on a treadmill, they're hopping on a stationary bike, they're jogging, okay, or now walking's fine. See, I make an important distinction, I think, in differentiating exercise with a workout. Okay? Exercise is defined as physical activity. So you should do as much of it as you possibly can, all that you can. Play tennis, play golf, go for a walk, do it all. Okay? What your body really needs to be fit, though, is a workout. And a workout is different. A workout is when you stress the body. Stress the heart, stress the lungs, stress the muscles, stress the bones, and then the body really performs in the way you want it to. So that's the difference. People don't need the real set you free secret that I share is that for the last 25 years, I've worked out 10 minutes or less a day for those years. And not only was I able to lose a lot of weight and get fit doing that formula, but today it continues to serve me very well. So again, it's exercise can be fun, okay? A workout is not fun, okay? Never. In fact, if you're having fun doing your workout, you're not doing it correctly, okay? Because again, that's what the body requires. So get in, get out, and get it over with. But the liberating thing is it'll only take you 5 to 10 minutes to do that, but you've got to be consistent.
And is that why you developed the Fit 10?
Yeah. Fit 10, the secret to Fit 10, one was to lock into this concept of doing a 10-minute workout every day. The second was the patent that's on that device is how the magic, we call it, of how it allows you to combine isometrics, all right, with variable resistance, and kind of shorten the amount of time that it takes to really stress and strengthen a muscle. That's the secret to it.
What do you think is the key for people to be able to stick with a fitness routine long term?
The key there is it's got to be ingrained into your life as a habit. A deep thought, I call it, from me on that is two of them. Number one, it's far better to brush your teeth for 2 to 3 minutes a day than for 45 minutes 2 to 3 times a month. What do you think? Okay? So I help people understand that. Isn't it interesting? You got up this morning, you brushed your teeth, you never thought about it. You don't step up to the sink and say, I've got a really busy day today. Maybe I'll skip brushing my teeth today and I'll just brush longer tomorrow. No. But you'll do that with exercise. The reason you do that with exercise is because your exercise is probably taking you way too much time. It's taking you 30 to 45 minutes and you got to prepare. But if we knock that down to 10 minutes and that becomes a habit and a routine in your life, then you're more apt to stick with it. The second profound thought is that for any change in your life to be permanent, you've got to be willing to stick with that change permanently for the rest of your life. So it has to be locked in as something that you can not only do now, but you can be doing 6 months from now, 6 years from now, 16 years from now. And that's the disconnect, in my opinion, with a lot of the kind of what you see on TV exercise program stuff. Because a lot of it's, and I use P90X as an example. P90X is a great program, okay? And they're pretty honest with what they say it's to do. It's to get you ripped, okay? But it's an hour a day. That's a lot of time. So most people who are getting on that program are hoping to get ripped, but that's not really their goal. They just want to get fit. But they get in and do that, and you may be able to do it for 30 days. Maybe you're able to do it for 90 days. You're not going to do that for the rest of your life. You're not. And so I would rather back off of that and let's settle into something that you can do, and just like brushing your teeth, lock it into your daily routine, and now we'll get lasting results.
Okay, thanks Dave. Thank you for joining us on HATV today, and thank you. If you'd like more information on Dave or his gadget, the Fit 10 exercise program, you can go to our website, hacres.com/store. For HATV, I'm Scott Laird.